wau Manu Ikaika ke ia ki kumua Halau Ho omau I ka vai ola o Hawai'i. Ma wilikinia me le lana me wakine kona DC. I'm Dr. Stillman. My name is Manu Ikaika. This is Dr. Amy Kulahilo Stillman, and we're here to open up our program about our Queen, Queen Lili'uokalani. Ho'ona ni ka makua mau, ke keiki me kau hane no, ke akua mau ho'o mai ka ipu, ko ke iau, ko ke lau. Kuno ha'a ko ka honua, na uli o ke kai, na lani ano kau hoku, na nani no, ka ona eo, amene. E ia kākou ki aloha ke e aloha Hawai'i nei, e ki mai kākou ona ke aloha o naina, a mena poe o ke aina, e nani ai ka haumana, a me ka hula kui, a me ka hula o lapa. Aloha e, aloha kākou e.
Aloha auina la kākou. Mahalo ke akua no ke ia la maikai, mahalo ke akua no ke ia ho'ohui ana kākou mai I o unei. E ia ka mo'olelo o ka lahui Hawai'i a me ka mo'i wahine o Lili'uokalani. Welcome everyone and thank you for joining us today, this afternoon on this fine, sunny, blue sky day in Washington, D.C. at the National Museum of American Indian. Our program today focuses on Queen Lili'uokalani. She was a queen who was deposed of her kingdom and sat back saying no violence, no death, in the belief that that kingdom would be rightfully restored. It was not rightfully restored, but the will of her people and the love of her people for that kingdom and for her has never been extinguished, and that's what these mele are about today. So we will begin with two hula in, oli, which is protocol to open our program, and segue into two hula in the ancient hula kahiko style that honor Lili'uokalani as our beloved queen.
Lili'uokalani no nani mai ko kinore ki imili ko makae no veole ko papalina e kuhan ko po ohivi ani pe ahi ko poli e nahe nahe ko kuli e nuku mo i o ko vai vai ka mo i ina ia mai hana ka puana e lili'ue no hona ni mai e ho o e lili'u i ko inoa ka hae ka launu o Hawai'i nei
So that was hula in the ancient hula kahiko style, and those were all mele by poets who wanted to express their love, admiration, and honor for Queen Lili'uokalani. This second part of our program takes a very different turn. Lili'uokalani was a very renowned composer herself. She wrote several hundred songs actually during her lifetime, and we are blessed to have that as a legacy. But what we are going to share with you in the second half of this program is very, very special because it is the result of many years of research on behalf of several different people to make all of the pieces and connections come together. Okay, so how many of you knew that Hawaii was an independent sovereign kingdom? Right. How many of you know that Hawaii is now the 50th state of the United States? Okay, good. We're having history taught. How many of you know that Hawaiians were not in favor of annexation to the United States? Okay. How many of you know the events by which Hawaii passed from a sovereign kingdom to, first of all, a territory and then a state of the United States? I see the number of hands reduced. Okay, story time with Auntie Amy. You all know 1893 was the year, January 17th was the day that Queen Lili'uokalani's monarchy was overthrown by American businessmen. That's a given, right? Okay, she took the pacifist approach of saying, we will not fight this because we believe that justice will prevail. The United States will recognize that a wrong has been done by American citizens, and the President of the United States will rightfully restore our kingdom, our sovereignty, and our monarchy. She did this so that no blood would be shed. And she did this out of a great love for her people and a great faith that justice and pono would prevail. It didn't happen. Okay? I'll cut to the next part of this story. In 1895, we now have a republic of the rogue government that overthrew the Queen. In January of 1895, a group of people still loyal to the Queen staged an armed rebellion against the government, attempting to restore Lili'uokalani to the throne. January 5th, 1895. This is when Lili'uokalani was arrested. Okay, the rebellion failed miserably. The rebels were all arrested, put into jail. Lili'uokalani herself was arrested, tried for treason, and imprisoned in her own Iolani palace by March of 1895. During this period of her imprisonment, one of her activities was, of course, quilting, and you can see some examples, and there are some images too of the actual quilts that she worked on. But another thing she did was compose mele, poetry. And we have these stories about her supporters smuggling in newspapers wrapped around flowers so she could read the news. There's actually a much bigger story behind that. Not only was she reading the news, she was able to send her mele out, and they got printed in the newspapers, in the Hawaiian language newspapers in 1895, okay? Wrap your head around this. She's in prison, but her mele are being published. Initially, when they first appear in the newspapers, there's no attribution, no crediting. And then at the end of 1895, over 100 mele were collected together by the editor of this newspaper and published in one book. And there we have mostly pseudonyms, but there are several remarkable mele with a pseudonym of Ha'imoi Ipo. But the first one begins, as I was sitting in Washington Place, a soft voice came to me saying, "Hui, Your Majesty, the men of the government are here." And By the deputy sheriff's carriage, I was taken to Iolani Hale. She is telling us in Mele her remembrance of being arrested. That Mele is immediately followed by a second Mele. She is now sitting in her room of imprisonment on the second floor of the Diamond Head Corner room in her own palace, a prisoner in her own palace. And the second Mele starts off, I am so saddened to look out upon the gates of Iolani Palace, and there beyond is Diamond Head, that mountain that rolls gently into the ocean. She's telling us what she's seeing. And it turns out that in this one newspaper, Kamaka Ainana, that mele comes in a series of mele over a 2-month period. The first mele is anonymous. It simply says, we love our queen, we will support her. The second mele, a patriot, we love our queen, we will support her. The third mele is Lili'u, saying, essentially conveying to her people who are reading this newspaper, I hear you, I am still with you. And there is, over a 3-month period, a remarkable exchange in song in this newspaper of expressions of loyalty and her responding back. We have images of all of these sources, and I'll be over there at the post there. Come and visit me in my office for the day, and I'll be happy to tell you even more stories about. There's just so many stories about the research process and how this all came together. But basically, what we are going to present here is the second of Lili'u's mele, that where she is sitting in her room of imprisonment, looking out and Diamond Head and grieving for the people who have pledged their loyalty to her. The mele reads, I am greatly saddened to gaze out upon the proud gates at Iolani Palace. And there lies Diamond Head, rolling down to dance in the ocean. This was the place where patriots rising in the east at Diamond Head sought justice, pono, and victory, Lanakila. Sacred is the love that pours forth for my nation. Oh, Heavenly Father, pour forth your aloha and relieve us from our troubled times.
Aloha mai ho'oku mai ka poe pilikia.
My heart tells but one story of the patriot's love.
Ko pu Hawai'i no ka poe I aloha I ka aina.
This is one unified refrain of love for the land.
Ho'okagi puana ko pu'uwahi no ka poe I aloha I ka aina no ka poe I aloha I ka aina mawa kine kona au uleialoha.
The mele, the poetry was Queen Lili'uokalani's composition. So was that tune. And it is a privilege and an honor for us to be able to put the tune and her thoughts together and put it on stage. And I would like to say a huge mahalo to Manu Ikaika, because when I made that connection around 2001, we performed at the National Museum of American History. We did a program there, and that was the very first time that mele had been performed again with the Queen's mana'o, the Queen's tune, and we did it here in Washington, D.C. So, mahalo, Manu.
Mahalo nui.
Okay. While Lili'uokalani was imprisoned in Iolani Palace, she also wrote other mele. And one of the most renowned and remarkable mele is a mele that she entitled Lili'uokalani's Prayer. Mind you, this is a woman who had her kingdom taken from her, wrongfully she believed. This is a woman who had been greatly wronged by people who took her kingdom from her. And yet this prayer is her coming to terms with the fact that because she was raised Christian, the way of forgiveness is paramount. And so we want you to hear the Queen's words, and we are going to do it bilingually. I will sing the Hawaiian language, but you will hear the English first. This is the Queen's English. She wrote the English as a singing text, as well as the Hawaiian. It is a beautiful melody, but it is also an extremely remarkable, dignified expression of forgiveness and belief that justice would prevail.
Mai, hele mai.
Too good, yeah, that technology.
O Lord, thy loving mercy is high as the heavens. It tells us of thy truth, and tis filled with holiness.
O ko aloha no ai kalani a o ko oia I o he molele ho'i.
Whilst humbly meditating within these walls in prison, thou art my light, my heaven, thy glory my support.
Ko unoho mihi ana apa ahau ia o e ko ulama ko nani ko u ko o.
O look not on their failings, nor on the sins of men. Forgive with loving kindness that we might be made pure.
Mai nana ino ino na heva o kanaka aka e hui kala ama e ma e no.
For thy grace, I beseech thee, bring us neath thy protection, and peace will be our portion now and forever.
No laila e kahaku, malalo ko e heu, ko ma ko paluhia, a mauloa kuno. And in closing, we present the song that expressed continued loyalty and love for the kingdom and our queen. And it is a loyalty and love that persists, continues on to this day. Our love for our nation, our love for our people, our love for our Aina, the land, was never extinguished. This is Kaulana Napua, a song that was composed about 2 weeks after the 1893 overthrow, and it becomes a very public anthem in the weeks of the 1895 rebellion, but it has, as I said, remained one of our most powerful expressions that we will never forget, and we will always love and believe in our people, our nation, and our land.
Kaulana Napua o Hawai'i, Kupa ama peoka aina, Hikimai ka elele o kaloko ina, Alaula nunu ka paka. Kapano sili ba o ke kana Ua lava mako I ka poha Ka ai ka maha o ka aina Maupe mako Lili'uokalani Aloha I ka puno ka aina Aina ia mai ana ka puana Ka poe I aloha I ka aina Maupe mako Li'ulani Aloha ai ka pono ka aina Haina ia mai ana ka puana O ka poe I aloha o ka aina
Eola mau kalahui Hawaii, and thank you all for joining us here today.
Mahalo nila me ke aloha. Until we meet again. From all of us to all of you, we say, Aloha.